welcome back. I'm Brett Morrison, founder of The Civilized Savage. The other week I put a quick video up there around about the 3 decisions that we can make that help bring a little bit of certainty back into our life. And I think that at the moment in particular, with the COVID-19 crisis going on, it's been going on for quite some time now, it's been extended. Depending on what media source that you look at, there is a level of mixed messages coming through the media. There's also a high level of fear being portrayed in the media, and it's very easy to go into a state of overwhelm. Now, I don't want to talk about or make this a COVID-19 video, because these decisions are decisions that you can make at any time, at any stage of your life, any day of the week. And I think that's really important, because quite often there are things that happen in our life that isn't all, roses and sunshine. The things that happen to us, and they do cause us stress, they do cause us anxiety, and quite often it's easy to go into that state of overwhelm where we're not too sure what to do next. And it's just easy to curl up in a little ball and go away somewhere. Or get angry and come out swinging, which is not that resourceful either. So these 3 things that we talked about were, what are we going to focus on? What are we going to make that mean? And then what are we going to do next to move ourselves forward? And I think that's really important. Now, the last video I did was actually around about what are we going to focus on. So today I want to make the second part of that series, which is, what are we going to make that mean? That sounds a little bit cryptic, but it's quite often, people say that we are shaped by the experiences that we have in life. Now, I would argue that it's not actually the experiences that shape us, but it's the meaning that we attach to those experiences that actually shapes us. They're choices. We actually make choices, whether consciously or unconsciously, about what we are going to make things mean. And you may see this where you have 2 people that are raised in the same family, they have the same mother and father, they have the same brothers and sisters, they go to the same school, they go to the same community groups, yet they'll grow apart and have very, very different views of the world and what things mean to them. Or they could even go through the same experiences as children, and then as they get older they'll be talking to each other and go, well, I didn't get that at all. So they have very different experiences or understanding of what experiences have meant for them. And if you have an argument with someone, it might be a work peer or a boss or a subordinate at work, and when you walk away from that discussion or that argument, if you don't resolve it at that given point, you go away thinking very different things happened, even though you both heard the same words, both looked at each other, saw the same body language, the same language being used. You both saw it at the same time, but you can walk away with it with very, very different points of view. Now, how does this happen? Which is a really good question. It's because we bring to any of our experiences of any of our relationships or any of the events that happen in our life, we bring with it a level of bias, we bring it with a level of cultural upbringing, we bring with it our own values, whether they be societal values, family values, personal values, workplace cultures, and all these things just get layered and layered and layered upon each other. But because we're individual and we all have our own biases and our own preferences, and if you don't believe that, have a look at the friends that you hang out with, because we tend to hang out with people that we like, or we think are like us. Very rarely will we hang out with people on a regular basis anyway, like all the time, that are constantly arguing with us and challenging our point of view. It just gets a little bit tiring after all. So we do tend to hang out with people that are like us. So therefore, when we go into a discussion with somebody else, we bring our viewpoint with us, our belief system with us, our values with us. And they can be shaped by our friends, our family, our community, our culture, our religious beliefs or non-beliefs, whichever way you want to go. So a way to work around that is to be able to step back, bring a level of self-awareness to the discussion, or even after the discussion, when you walk away and you're upset or you're angry, take a step back. Have a think about what might the other person been thinking at that particular point in time. And don't think about it from your perspective, try and truly step into their shoes, which is really hard to do because we don't really know people that well. Like we don't know their upbringing, we don't know what's happened to them that day, you don't know if they've suffered grief in the last week or 2 or they're suffering an illness. We don't really know what's going on with many people. Sometimes we do, but the majority of times we don't. So we can't fully understand, but if you take it from their perspective, what could they possibly have been meaning when we had the discussion? And it may just help you to step back a little bit, have a think about what's triggering you. What are your beliefs being triggered here? What are your values being triggered? Is it going against you? Is your ego coming into play? So if you can step back, bring a level of self-awareness to the situation. It's about emotional intelligence, so bring a little bit of maturity into it. And I always say that growing old doesn't equal maturity. So just because you might be older than 20 doesn't mean to say you have a high level of maturity. It just means that you're over 20. Okay, so that's pretty much it. So try and bring that level of maturity, self-awareness, and question yourself about what you're actually making things mean. Because quite often, it's not what the other person thinks has happened at all. But when we can do that, and we can bring that level of self-awareness, we can choose to give our experiences more positive outcomes. We can choose to give it more positive meaning, which will shape our lives, shape our direction, shape our mood and emotions, and produce a far more pleasant and happier life. Now sometimes those choices that we make and those awarenesses aren't particularly easy to do, especially if you can sit back and go, gee, my ego is just super strong in that and I just did all of that, slam that person completely from ego. It can be a little bit confronting, and that's okay. But each time you do that, it'll get a little bit easier and a little bit better, and you'll catch yourself that little bit earlier. So when something is happening to you and you're choosing to make it mean X, and that might be negative, you can go, well, actually there's probably a silver lining here somewhere. Now I'm not saying that you always need to look for the silver lining and make things Pollyanna, because sometimes things are meant to be challenging for you for a reason, because there is growth in challenge, there's growth in being stretched, there's growth in being pressured. As they say, diamonds are made under pressure. So don't always look for the easy way out, but bring a level of self-awareness, choice, emotional intelligence, and challenge yourself around what are you making it mean. And I'd go as far as say, try and give it as positive a meaning as you possibly can in every part of your life. Hope that helps. Have a great day. I'm out.